So we already have this more interesting progress bar. These progress bars are now taller, however the color is still a bit boring. Now, as I showed you in the previous lecture, we could always go ahead and change the color from SAML. That is not a big deal. However, what I want to show you is how you can use a custom progress bar renderer to dynamically change the color of the progress bar. So let's say that in this scenario, for example, housing is quite big compared to the other categories, which would mean that maybe housing has a color maybe closer to the red, and maybe travel and personal that are very small in the context of the expenses of this example, maybe they are almost entirely green, if not entirely green. So the user may be, just by taking a look at these progress bars, able to understand that it's bad to be spending too much on a specific category, or just, any other scenario. For this, we're going to continue to use this custom progress bar renderer that we have. And the idea behind this example is to show you how you cannot just change something with values that you just have right here, but actually use values from the actual element, in this case a progress bar. So what I'm going to do is, after the base call to the onElement changed and before the call to the layout subviews method, evaluate what is the progress of the current progress bar. So how do we do it? Well, actually, we are going to have access through the E. Notice that we are receiving an E value in here. The old element, so the one before we set the new renderer, and the new element, so the one after we set the renderer. And this new element, which is the one that we want to change after all, not the old element, is going to contain, because this is a progress bar, a progress, which is a double value. So with this, we know that we can evaluate the value of this double variable. So let's go ahead and do that. The first thing, I'm going to have many if statements in here. You can have as many as you want, depending on how many colors you want to use, or how, in my scenario, how many iterations from green all the way to red do we wish to have. So the first evaluation that I want to make here is for those elements where there is no value yet. So we absolutely have to add this evaluation when that progress is actually not a number yet, because we haven't set it to anything. It wouldn't actually have a 0, it would have a value of not a number. So let me go ahead and evaluate if the progress is not a number. So the double and other types are going to have the isNaN method that is going to allow us to evaluate if a double in this case is not a number. And of course, we can access the progress from the new element. If this is the case, I am going to be setting a color. So this color probably won't ever be displayed, but I am going to be doing it through the control property of the renderer, accessing the progress tint color. So this is how you set it. And I'm simply going to be assigning it to a new color that I'm going to be creating from a hexadecimal value that I'm going to write here in a string. And after I get that color, I need to change it to a UI color. So I have this handy toUI_color variable. Now I already have a few colors that I want to use. So let me go ahead and copy and paste that hex value in here. So you get the idea how we're going to be making this evaluation. For example, we can make yet another if statement. If this returns false, meaning it is a number, we can start to evaluate if that progress, let's say that is less than 30%, we're going to be assigning yet another color. And so we're going to have kind of like the progress, actually this is less than 0.3, so less than 30%. So in this case, we may have a color very close to green. And I, again, already have my hexadecimal over here. So this, you can test that it's going to be a greenish color. and maybe the next evaluation is less than 0.5 and less than 0.7 and etc. You get the idea. I'm just going to go ahead and add the other evaluations in here for my case. So here we have it. After we make this first evaluation, I want to evaluate if it's still greater than 0.5. We are going to have this that is still greenish, but it starts to convert into a red, so a progress to some other colors. And the same for less than 70%, less than 90%, and finally this last else that would be it's 90% or more. So this is how we're going to be able to make that evaluation, in this case through the progress property of the progress bar. Which would mean that the next time that we run this, these colors are going to be used as the tint of the progress for the progress bars. So let me go ahead and run this, and you can see indeed how the housing, which is a little bit bigger than all of the others, is, I forgot that I was setting a blue instead of a green. So this one is going to be a different color because the progress is bigger. Now let me go ahead and just add another expense that is going to be ridiculous. Like this is going to be 2,000. I think this is way bigger than any other that I have, and this is going to be insurance. So this is going to be for a category that I don't yet have set, which is health, I believe. And just, some short description. This makes no sense. I'm just going to hit on save. I do have a breakpoint in here. Let me just skip this. And now over here, health has a color, a different color. And the other ones are just now smaller because this is a ridiculous amount. So we see how now, because of our new progress bar render and how we're evaluating the tint or the progress to set a different tint is working. And hopefully a wide array of possibilities with what you can do in here is opening. Of course, in here we're evaluating the progress of a progress bar, but we could do a lot of things in here with any kind of other elements that we want to re-render with our custom renderer. So this is how you do this on iOS. In the next couple of lectures, let's go ahead and implement something very similar in the case of Android.